Hello everyone, welcome to Database Systems, week number 2. This is the overview video. Here are 3 things that we want to accomplish this week. Install SQL Server, SQL Server, understand the SQL Server some terms, and begin to think about database authentication. So let me talk about each one of them. The major task of this week is to set up the environment for us to do our work for this course, namely to install Microsoft SQL Server. I would like for you to install SQL Server 2019, and here are a few steps and details I'd like you to know. Make sure you have access to Windows operating system 10 or 11. For Windows users, this is already available for you, so that's not a problem. But for Mac users, as I mentioned last week, you do need to have access to Windows OS in order for you to not only install SQL Server, but for the SQL Server to work as you expect it to be working. It is possible for you to install Microsoft SQL Server on Mac OS or Linux and other operating systems, but as I tested them out, it is really tricky, and there are lots of technical difficulties, and even if you do accomplish them successfully, the actual steps and the order of operations for using the SQL Server is different than the way it works on the Windows OS platform. So unless you have some serious issues, I expect you to be using the Windows OS. And then you will need to download and install the SQL Server. It doesn't really matter which one you use, but for the successful completion of this course and to take advantage of all the things we're going to be talking about, I expect you to install 2019 edition. There are later and newer editions available out there, but some of them still have some residual issues. So I'm going to stick with 2019. There is a detailed instruction posted on Blackboard for you to follow, and you can go to directly to Microsoft SQL Server downloads and download and install the SQL Server. Let me show you how that looks like when you actually get there. But maybe first, when I mentioned to you that there is a detailed instructions on how to do that, here is some documentations that I provided for you and stuff, so you can take a look at that. So when you come to the Microsoft SQL Server download page, you will see this, and there are, as I mentioned for you before, they advertise that it is possible to install in other platforms, but you really have to go through a lot of pain and suffering. So, and even then, some things may not look right. But anyway, so you come here, and I would like for you to install the Developer Edition, and there are detailed instructions on how to do that. If for some reason your technical difficulties, you're having, you don't have enough space, or you are, for whatever reason, you are unable to download and install the Developer Edition as I showed you in the Blackboard documentation, then you'll have to download and install the Express Edition. You'll get most of the work done, and you'll have to jump through some hoops to maybe get some of them done. But if you have to do that, then you have to do that, I guess. But if you do it, then make sure that you let me know, and be mindful that some items may not be accessible that are accessible in Developer Edition. After you download and install the SQL Server 2019, you also need to download and install the Management Studio. And Management Studio is what allows you to connect to the SQL Server nice and easy way, and that's typically the way that most users will be using, including what we're doing. So just because you install the SQL Server doesn't mean that you're ready to go. You still need a Management Studio, and hold on, I think I mistyped it here. 2019, and you need to install that as well. So let me show you how that looks like. If you click on that, this is how it looks like, right? So you come to the download SQL Server Management Studio, and you scroll down a little bit here, and here's a free download, and you just follow the instruction. This is pretty straightforward. Here's download 19, all right? So hopefully that's pretty good. I mean, if you need some additional, instructions or tips or whatever, I'm sure there are tons of videos online you can find on the internet. But I trust that my instruction would be sufficient for you. So that's the major portion. It should take you a couple hours to do it, so make sure you take your time and do it correctly. Otherwise, you'll have to uninstall the whole thing and redo it, which is not end of the world, but that's a time consumption. Some people opt out to install both the developer edition as well as the Express. Let me show you how mine looks like. So this is the way that it looks for me, and as you can see, there's a Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and this is the interface to connect to this SQL Server. And when I do a drop down here, there are multiple ones that I have installed, mainly for just testing purposes and demo purposes. So you don't have to do all this, but there are, some people may opt out for the SQL Express and Developer Edition and a few other editions. So that's totally up to you, and that's not something that you have to do. But if you're interested in database, you may want to do that. There are two other assignments that I'd like you to do, and so let me get you over there. So here's a discussion board. So I'd like you to research on database authentication and authorizations and that sort of things, and suggested two strong authentication methods. And what if we all think that's important, there are still so many companies out there that are using a weak or not strong authentication and authorization methods. So why do you think that is? And what can you, as a CS major, you want to be thinking about what they should be doing, but also you want to thinking about how they can move and adopt your best practices, right? And in order for you to do that, I think you need to understand what the business struggles are. So do some research on that and share your thoughts. There is a textbook question that I'd like you to do. Some basic stuff like what's an ANSI versus T-SQL, and let me see if I can kind of point you to that one. Well, maybe I'll talk about some of this in the lecture portion. But anyway, here's a textbook assignment questions, and I already mentioned to you about the SQL Server. So those are the lesson objective for this week, and so I hope that kind of gives you a good overview. And if you have any questions, always feel free to email me and I'll respond. That's it. Have a good one. Look forward to receiving your work. Take care. Bye for now.